Hey, folks, welcome back to BrushPile Fishing, the podcast. We've got another great show in store, the first show of 2023. And this time of year, January, February, we are busy setting up our booth at boat shows and doing seminars and all that good stuff while the weather's so nasty up here. We've got a great guest from the National Fishing Expos. Mr. David's going to join us, the man himself. We're going to talk a little bit about not just the Cincinnati show coming up here in about 2 days, but also the other shows he's put on as he has expanded out. So you stay tuned. We've got a great show in store here at BrushPile Fishing, the podcast. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the first podcast of 2023. And David, how's it going there?
Good, Russ. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'll tell you what, man, it's always a pleasure getting to talk to you. I know you're busy on the road fishing your bass trail and then getting these shows lined up. And I can remember just a few years ago, it was just the Columbus fishing show. That was it. You've expanded. Tell the folks a little bit about that.
Yes, so we started Columbus, I think it's 8-9 years ago, started in like 50,000 square feet. And the second year, I think we had like 10,000 people come and it was so packed, people were leaving. And so eventually that show's, our largest show, and that grew to 20,000. And after 3 or 4 years, we decided to expand. So we started looking around the country, found a location at Sharonville Convention Center. That show is a little smaller than Columbus, but it's a great show. And we try to draw people from Lexington, Louisville, south to that show because we don't want to dilute the Columbus show. And then since then, we've grown to Kansas City, Missouri, and then we're starting a new one in Fort Worth, Texas. So
Yes,
that'll be in March.
I think I've got a good buddy, Brian Carter, who's done several shows with us on B&M staff. I think he's going to reach out to you if he hasn't. Maybe be a speaker on that one.
Yes.
The thing that I like, and this all started with the Columbus show, is, and you got to understand, David, I've done this for a long time, but so many of the winter fishing shows now have become a little bit of fishing and a whole lot of flea market, to where you can buy dishwater soap, beef jerky, whatever you want, but your show has stayed fishing. And that's why I love doing the seminars there. And everybody that walks through those doors, they're fishermen. They're there to get fishing products. They're there to look at some boats. And I think that's one of the things that sets your show off from some of the others in the area.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We do have some non-fishing vendors, only because we got to fill the space. And so you just can't have dead space. But we really do try to keep a majority, I'd say 90-95% of the building is fishing tackle is what we look for. And we'll have our Lake Erie guides and we'll have our Canadian outfitters. But if you're looking for tackle at discounted prices, the shows is where you can supply up for the whole year.
I'll tell you what, of course, we'll talk specifically the Cincinnati show coming up in a couple days. And, of course, we'll have our BrushPile booth there. And like you say, all the products that we represent, crappie magnet, B&M, everything is going to be there. We'll have great prices. But also, I'm a big advocate of cornfield fishing gear. And not only will they have, or will we have some of their products, but Mark Riddle, the owner, he's actually going to join us again in the Columbus show, but we'll have some of his information at the Cincinnati show. And I'll tell you something I'm looking forward to is I get to do some seminars again, but you got a fish tank set up there, right?
Yep, we've got the hog trough, 5,000 gallons, and we load it up with crappie and bass and saugeye and I don't know what, catfish and bluegills, and so the pros get up there like yourself and do your demonstration. And what I like about it is you can see the reaction the fish have to a certain bait or a certain technique, and it's pretty exciting. The kids love it. They get up there and they put their noses on the tank, and that's why I started the shows. Is we needed a good show in Columbus, and I started. But the one thing I think I'm most proud of is we allow all kids 17 and under in for free.
Nice.
And We do limit it to 2 kids per paying adult because we just can't have 5,000, kids running around unsupervised. But that's our whole goal, is to get kids in the sport of fishing. Because if we don't, the whole industry is going to crash, and get them away from the computers.
Yep. Well, and one of the things, excuse me, is Jeff Smith from Crappie Magnet. Great guy, great company. Him and I have been working together on a project. I wanted another plastic jig to come out. We've been looking on this, tweaking it from time to time, and I finally got some samples of what I think is pretty darn close to what we want the final product to be. And so I need to book a little extra time up on that fish tank because I want to see what that thing does in there. I want to see how the fish react. And you talk about good timing. I just got these plastics from him a couple of days ago. So I'm going to test those out. And for the people that are at that seminar, you're going to get to see these things and you'll see how they work. So it's pretty cool. And one of the things as far as the seminars that I like doing, last year I was doing them at your Columbus show. And I don't know, it was probably early March, freezing out. BrushPile Buzz, he wanted to go to Buckeye Lake. So I took him to Buckeye, and it was cold, big cold front come in, but we're catching some pretty nice crappie. Now, we had to work for them, but I had a boat pull up next to me, and I mean right next to me. And they're just sitting there, and I'm thinking, well, they're not trying to fish. What are they doing? Then they said, we caught a fish, and then they started laughing. I said, what's going on, guys? They said, we wanted to see if what you talk about at these seminars is really what you do. They were at the Columbus seminar, and I was talking about fishing aluminum lifts during these cold fronts. Right. And they sat there and watched me catch a couple of nice fish, and they said, you did it, because that's what I talked about. And I do, man. And all the speakers, they're talking about the techniques and the patterns that work for them. Who you got big coming in from the bass side?
So this year we've got in Cincinnati, we've got probably one of the greatest of all time, young guy, Brian Thrift. Okay. And so he doesn't have, he is a great big name, probably, but he's just a great fisherman. We've got Shaw Grigsby, so everybody knows he's a legend. He had his own TV show. And then we have Fletcher Shryock from Ohio. So Fletcher, those are our 3 big pros. Of course, Russ, we have you. You're our headline crappie speaker. Troy Fish Slim Becker. We all know Troy is the premier saugeye fisherman in the state of Ohio. I've got a couple new guys. We've got Joe Matson. He's going to be doing basics of steelhead fishing. So he's coming down from the Northeast Ohio, where they take the boats down and he paddles, and he's going to be talking about steelhead. And I don't think we've ever had that at the show. We've got Chuck Earls. He always does his cold water kayak fishing. Ryan Bortz does his kayak catfishing on the Ohio River. And then Andrew Hayes is going to be there. He's got his own podcast. He's talking about rod choices. So we've got a nice selection of speakers this year in Cincinnati, and it's going to be great. I was actually going to let people know, I was looking at the calendar here. So we've got you on Friday. You're going to be on Hog Trough at 2 p.m. on Friday. And then, let's see here if I can find it. And then we've got you at 5 p.m. on Stage A. And then on Saturday, we've got Russ. You're going to be at 11 o'clock on the Hog Trough. And where are you at then? And I've got you at 3 o'clock. So all your fans, we want to have you come out. First thing I want to say, though, is on Friday, first 250 adult paying ticket holders, they will get a free T-shirt. Nice. So buy your tickets online, get there early, and they can get a free T-shirt. The one I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see that on screen or not. Yes, sir. So
nice. There you go, folks. A little clue for David to get you a free T-shirt. How do they find that online? What's the easiest way?
So they can go to nationalfishingexpos.com, and then when they'll go under the Cincinnati tab or the Columbus, whatever show they'd like. I'm sure this airs all over the country, so anybody that wants to come to any of the shows can go to the nationalfishingexpos.com, go to the show itself, and then it'll be on each ticket, hit the ticket button. They can buy them there. Again, they're $12 for an adult ticket. We didn't raise our prices. A lot of shows around the country went to $15. A lot of the shows they charge for kids. And so, it's a great value. Where can you come to a show, spend the whole day, come to a kids zone? It's just a great time for $12.
You got it. And, you talked about people going to the seminars. One of the things that I've liked and still do after all these years is when I'm done doing a seminar and people come up and just want to talk. They want to show me pictures of fish they've caught. It's just a great time. And the cool thing is I'll see some of the same guys that have come back year after year. And it never gets old, man. It never gets old just talking fishing. And this is the weekends to do it at your shows for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. You come every year, and it's kind of like we're all just a big club, right? Sometimes
Yes,
you don't get and good friends. I mean, I've seen guys that come up to me at the shows that I used to when I joined my first bass club 35 years ago, and we spent years together in clubs, and it's just great to see everybody. And I'm always walking around the show, and if anybody wants to say something, even if it's something that they don't like about the show, that's what I'm out there for, is tell us what you want, tell us what we can do to improve, and we're always just trying to make the show better every year.
Folks, this weekend, the first of his shows in Cincinnati, and like I say, the venue, it's a great building. It's easy to get to right off 75, and this is the third year for that show. And I'll tell you what, man, it's already expanded, and I love going down there. And like you said, we draw a lot of people from Kentucky down there. Get out there. There's nothing else to do. The weather's not going to be nice this weekend, so get out and come to the shows. David, what are the dates of your other shows?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give you all of them.
Okay.
So right now, January, this coming weekend, January 13th through the 15th is Sharonville Convention Center. We open Friday at noon to 7 p.m. We have all the shows are the same time. Saturday from 10 to 6, Sunday 10 to 3, and so we've got the following weekend is Kansas City, and then the February 10th through the 12th is Columbus. And March 17th through the 19th, 17th through the 19th is our Fort Worth show. So all that information is on the website. But love to see everybody come out Friday, get there early. Let's kick off this weekend and have a great show.
There you go, folks. Mr. David from the National Fishing Expos, Cincinnati starts it this weekend, and then you're on the road a lot, aren't you?
That's right.
So,
yep.
Well, excuse me. I've been battling this. Anything you want to add?
No, I just appreciate being on the podcast. And like I said, I look forward to seeing you and listening to all the seminars and seeing all the pros and seeing all of our friends.
There you go. And folks, I've actually ran into David. He's a bass guy, but I've actually ran into him on the water a couple years ago when I taped the Lake Erie show and I caught that big monster.
Right.
And tell you how the fishing community, how word gets out. I ran into David probably a couple hours after I'd caught this fish and released that fish, and seen him in a different part of Lake Erie. He says, "Man, I heard you caught a monster today." And I'm thinking, now, how the heck did you hear that? But the fishing community is great. Word gets by. Yes. So folks, spread the word about the show starting this weekend in Cincinnati, and all of his shows. They're great. I've been to all of them, and you don't want to miss them for sure. David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Russ. And maybe you'll give out that secret spot up at Lake Erie to us at the show.
That's probably not going to happen, but I will let them see that new bait I'm working on. How's that? Is that a trade-off?
That's a fair deal.
All right. Thank you, David. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Thanks, Russ.
And folks, before we sign off on this podcast, I'd like to remind you, if you don't have the BrushPile app, make sure you get that for your phone. It's completely free, whether you've got an Apple or an Android. Doesn't matter what species you fish, you can use this app. We've got all of our guide information on there. You have access to all of our shows, so much more. So check out the BrushPile app. And before we leave, I'd like to talk to you about my seminar schedule. Again, January 13th through 15th this weekend. I'll be in Cincinnati. I'll be in David's show in Columbus, February 10th through 12th. February 24th and 25th, I'll be at Bass Pro Shops down in Cincinnati. I'll be at Vance Outdoors February 25th and 26th. For us old timers, that used to be called Buckeye Outdoors in Hebron, Ohio. And see my good friend Larry Uhl there. And then also, I just confirmed yesterday, be doing some seminars at the Grizzly Show out in Missouri, February 2nd through 5th. So hope to see everyone there. And folks, let's start out 2023 catching some fish, checking out some seminars, and checking out some of these great shows that David puts on. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. David, thank you again, sir.
Thank you.
Folks, stay tuned because we'll be back soon with another BrushPile Fishing, the podcast.